Okay, starting with Chapter 5, the integumentary system. I think you guys will actually enjoy this one a little better than some of the other ones you've had, because it makes a little more sense and you can kind of see what's going on in this system. Okay, so this is going to look very similar to your labeling on the exam. I'll have to look and see how much labeling you have on there. But you've got to know the 3 different layers for sure. So your epi, meaning up top or covering. So the very top layer would be your epidermis. And then we'll talk about the structures of it and what it's used for and all that. The dermis, the middle layer, and then what's called your hypodermis. So you've got 3 layers there that you've got to know. And then you're going to have to know what's included in all those layers. So we'll do a couple of activities, and so you'll know for sure. Going back to Chapter 2, I believe, tissues, talking about the different types of tissues. Well, skin is definitely your stratified, so that means how many layers? Many, so a bunch, multiple, not single. So skin is definitely stratified. And what type of cells? Because these look really flat. Down here they don't. They kind of look cuboidal down here, but they're not. As they push higher, they're called what? Squamous. So they kind of look like scales of a fish or even fried eggs. So you need to know this and this is all that top layer. This is the epidermis. So the very outer crust, we actually have 2 layers to the epidermis. Your stratum corneum. And so I think corneum, I think crust, the very top. And that top, all these cells, like the video was talking about, are dead cells. So everything you see out here is dead. And so when we scratch and it sloughs off, that's okay because they're dead. Huh? That's gross? Well, we need it to protect all these other layers. Another thing about these cells, they are dead and they're keratinized. So that means they're protective. They're going to protect all these other layers underneath. They're water resistant, so they keep things out and they keep things in. Another layer down here, the stratum basal layer, think of a base. So we have crust and base. The base, this is where we're going to actually have mitosis occur. And if you think mitosis, I know we haven't got to that lecture yet, but mitosis, if you think of a T in there, then think of 2 daughter cells or twins. They're exactly the same. Where meiosis is the sex, where we have 2 different cells coming together. So mitosis, 2 of the same, because it's got a T in it. So mitosis occurs down here in the stratum basal, or the base layer. That's very important to know. This is where reproduction occurs. And so as these cells reproduce, they're being pushed further and further up towards that crust, the stratum corneum, and they flatten out and die and become keratinized. Those are all very important aspects of the epidermis layer or epidermal layer.